Tonight on Cronkite News, trust and representation on the line. How the government shutdown is testing Native communities' faith in Washington.
And after decades in Phoenix, the local printing presses are shutting down. Where the Arizona Republic will be printed next.
As you go through your playoff journey, you face different obstacles.
And the Phoenix Mercury are back from Vegas after their game against the Aces. What this loss means for the rest of the series, next on Cronkite News. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Macy Markham.
And I'm Jacob Shanker. Thank you for joining us. We begin with a decision from the U.S. Supreme Court, who declined to hear a bid to overturn the Oak Flats land case. At issue, the building of a copper mine on land considered sacred by the Western Apache. Congress first approved mining on the land in the Tonta National Forest in 2014. The Western Apache say the mine would destroy their sacred land, and they sued the federal government. The case was originally denied by the Supreme Court in May and denied once again by the court today.
And 6 days into this government shutdown, Native communities in Arizona are wary of the impacts and want better representation. This week, I spoke with Indigenous advocates who warned the fallout could further erode trust between Native communities and Washington. Trust and representation.
Anytime that an administration sort of fails its basic functions, you're going to lose trust.
Native leaders say they're paying attention.
Unfortunately, Native Americans have a lot of interests tied up with the federal government, and there's a lot of obligations that are being unmet because of the shutdown.
As advocates gathered to discuss solutions, they say voting access and turnout is more important now than ever.
Theoretically, we should be the best represented population in the country.
Arizona has one of the largest Native American populations in the U.S., but the state has never actually elected a Native person to Congress.
And yet here we are, trying to come to grips with the powers we have and the obstacles we still face.
Leaders said restrictive voter ID laws and limited polling sites have long excluded tribal voices.
They choose the types of IDs that are allowed to be used, and it cuts certain voters out.
And even when voters get the acceptable ID, registration is often dependent on a mailing address, something most tribal homes don't have at all.
This is something that the government can fix. It's not a data necessarily issue, but a policy issue of, for those who don't get standard mail, they should get a P.O. box.
These issues compound deep-rooted distrust in the government, only exacerbated by a shutdown, halting essential services.
Tribes certainly are taking note, and unfortunately, I do think that it's something that's going to continue to impact Indian country until it's resolved.
And leaders I spoke to pointed out Arizona's history of tight races where every vote counts. In fact, in 2024, Representative Yasmin Ansari won her primary by just 39 votes after a recount. And in 2022, Katie Hobbs won her bid for governor against Kari Lake by less than 1%.
Meanwhile, Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva and other House Democrats have accused Speaker Mike Johnson of delaying her swearing in. Grijalva won the congressional special election on September 23rd, but still hasn't been sworn in. Grijalva could be the deciding vote on a proposal to release the Epstein files. She alleges that Speaker Johnson's delay is linked to stopping a vote on the issue.
I am a woman of color, a Chicana from Tucson. None of those factors, I don't think, are reasons why I wouldn't be being sworn in, other than pointing to the Epstein files and the complete lack of transparency from this administration in releasing those files. The other is Speaker Johnson has closed down votes in the recent past to avoid a vote on the Epstein files.
Johnson told Axios that the Speaker's office intends to schedule a swearing in for the representative when the House returns to session. That return date is unclear as the government shutdown continues.
And Governor Katie Hobbs visited the city of Globe this weekend after deadly flooding swept through the area. Hobbs arrived in Globe this weekend to assess the cleanup and discuss funding for recovery efforts. Over 50 residents lost their homes, and many businesses in downtown Globe are still repairing damage. Local leaders say the additional money will help local businesses and people who lack flood insurance.
Back here in the Valley, downtown Phoenix will host 860 technology companies this week for the first time. Semicon West, a microelectrics conference, begins tomorrow at the Phoenix Convention Center. The event, hosted for decades in San Francisco, is now moving to Arizona as the state grows its semiconductor industry. Several city representatives showing their support for the event. Mayor Kate Gallegos saying that Semicon will cement Phoenix's place as America's semiconductor capital.
And the Sunday edition of the Arizona Republic was the final one to ever be printed in our state. That's because printing operations have officially been moved to Las Vegas, where it will be printed from now on, and then trucked in across the state. So the plant in North Phoenix, where the Republic was printed for decades, is shutting down. Gannett, which owns the Republic, says it's a cost-cutting move. More than 100 employees will lose their jobs, but will get a severance package. And by the way, the Republic has been in existence since 1890, when it was known as the Arizona Republican. And coming up next, a deadly summer storm that tore through North Dakota is making headlines again.
We're learning just how powerful that tornado was. After months of research, investigators say that it was the first of its kind in over a decade, the record that it broke when we come back.
Will Hurricane Priscilla bring us some cooler temperatures and maybe some more rain chances later in the week? Find out during our 8-day forecast after the break.
This is where Cronkite can be creative.
You meet so many new people who are on different communities, and when you do that, you're able to network not only, but also get to engage, talk to people, and make life friends.
I think that definitely surprised me, the community that I would find, because I wasn't really expecting it.
Freedom.
Friendly. Nice. I'd say cozy.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there. In that moment, you know that you've reached them.
Welcome back. Tomorrow marks 2 years since the beginning of the war in Gaza. Ceasefire talks are underway in Egypt as leaders consider a new plan pushed by President Donald Trump. Trump's 20-point peace plan calls for an immediate end to the fighting. Hamas would have 72 hours to release all hostages, and in exchange, Israel would free about 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. Trump celebrated the proposal before boarding Marine One yesterday.
You're going to have peace, if you think about it, peace in the Middle East for the first time in, they say, really 3,000 years.
The talks in Cairo are expected to continue throughout the week.
And after less than just 1 month on the job, the French Prime Minister has resigned. Sébastien Lecornu resigned on Monday after just hours after revealing his new cabinet. He said that the infighting in Parliament made his job impossible. Leaders from both sides accused him of abandoning his promise for change. The move sent French markets tumbling. Now, President Emmanuel Macron must decide whether to dissolve Parliament or call for new elections.
And back here in the U.S., the Treasury Department says it's considering a commemorative coin featuring President Donald Trump to mark the nation's 250th birthday. U.S. Treasurer Brandon Beach reposted a draft image of the coin and said the first drafts are real, but a spokesperson says a final design has not yet been chosen. It's important to note it is against the law for a current president or living former president to be used on U.S. currency.
The National Weather Service has upgraded the strength of a deadly tornado in North Dakota to the most powerful rating for tornadoes. The tornado struck North Dakota in June, causing significant damage. Now, the National Weather Service has upgraded the deadly storm to an EF5 after finding that the tornado's maximum wind speed exceeded 210 miles per hour. This announcement ends a 12-year period without a single confirmed EF5 tornado in the United States.
Now, it's been back here in the valley and even a little chilly in the morning, I'll say.
Kayla McDonald joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with our forecast.
Yes, we are starting to see some cooler temps in the evening hours. It's going to be in the upper 80s, and then as the sun sets, it's going to cruise through those 80s into the upper 70s until we're getting into those early morning lows. We're up north, some freezing temperatures, below freezing at the Grand Canyon, 31 degrees, 39 degrees in Flagstaff. That's chilly. You're going to want to break out the jackets for those. The further south part of the state, we got 71 degrees in Phoenix, 67 degrees in Gila Bend. Some nicer early morning fall temperatures there, but as we get into those highs, we got some nice fall temps for the Grand Canyon, 75 degrees, 72 degrees in Flagstaff, but the southern part of the state, not as nice for those fall temps that we're looking for, 98 degrees in Phoenix, and still triple digits, 100 degrees in Gila Bend. Now for the rest of the country, on the eastern part of the country, we have the storm system still moving through, and as we look at Arizona, we're pretty dry, but later in the week, we have Category 1 Hurricane Priscilla moving north, and it is pumping moisture up into us. So is that going to help us with our high temperatures? Yes, it will. So for Tuesday and Wednesday, 98 degrees, 99. It's going to be in those upper 90s until boom, we get that moisture coming from Hurricane Priscilla. And then that's going to give us increased chances for storms along with dropping our temperatures. So we're going to be a high of 93 on Friday, and it's going to be in the upper 80s until it gets into the lower 80s later in the next week. 40% chance of rain on Friday, 50% on Saturday, Sunday, and 40% on Monday. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Kayla McDonald.
And coming up next, the Mercury are back in town after a disappointing weekend in Vegas. How the Mercury fared next.
Plus, a disappointing game for the Cards, how players are reacting.
I think they were literally a play away from quitting, but we left them, we kept them in the game.
The Cardinals started strong, but it didn't stay that way forever. How it all fell apart when we come back.
Find out what's on Arizona PBS at azpbs.org/schedule.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
straight.
The scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars could be in this class.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you to impact the world. Whether you're on campus or at home, becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Max Williams. We begin tonight with the Phoenix Mercury, who were out of luck in Vegas, dropping the first 2 games of the WNBA Finals. After a close loss in Game 1, the Aces upped the ante the second time around. Even though the Mercury were able to jump out to a fast start, leading 27-24 after the first quarter, the Aces were too much, outscoring the Mercury by 12 in the second. They continued to pile it on the Merc in the second half, cruising to a 13-point victory and a 2-0 lead in the series. Jackie Young, unstoppable, leading all scorers with a game-high 32 points. Cronkite News reporter Keon Russell was there at Game 2, and he has more on how the game unfolded and what it means for Phoenix moving forward as they head home.
The Las Vegas Aces star power took over in Game 2 of the WNBA Finals as Asia Wilson and Jackie Young combined for 60 points to give Vegas a 2-0 series lead over the Phoenix Mercury.
Our commitment and tenacity and toughness at that defensive end, we need to find that. And I think going home with that crowd behind us will be better defensively.
After getting off to a fast start just like in Game 1, things quickly went downhill for the Mercury, scoring only 10 points in the second quarter as they became stagnant offensively.
We just kind of held the ball, over-dribbled the ball. Listen, I've been really proud of our offense the last 4 or 5 games, how we've moved it. We found matchups that we like. We did not do a good job of that today.
Mercury star Alyssa Thomas battled with foul trouble for most of the game, picking up 3 quick first-half fouls that limited her to just 10 points.
As you go through your playoff journey, you face different obstacles. That was one today, right? Obviously, we would love to keep her on Asia as much as we can. Because of the fouls, we had to change that matchup.
Down 0-2, the Phoenix Mercury now head back to Phoenix with their season on the line. But if there's one thing this team has shown us all postseason, they're resilient. And that's something they'll have to hang their hat on as they go back home for games 3 and 4 if they want to keep their title hopes alive.
We have so many games still to play, so we lost 2. We're returning home, so that's also positive, and I still believe in us.
Super excited. I think X Factor is a huge part of the success we had this season. And it's always good to be home, so we're excited to get back home.
The Mercury will look to get their first win in the WNBA Finals in Game 3 on Wednesday night at Mortgage Matchup Center. In Las Vegas, Keon Russell, Cronkite News.
Good stuff as always, Keon. The Merc have a couple of days to rest and reset before they welcome the Aces to town, with Game 3 set for Wednesday. Tip-off is at 5 p.m. at the newly named Mortgage Matchup Center. And Sunday featured a different disaster in Glendale. After jumping out to an early lead, the Cardinals fell apart, losing once again on a last-second field goal. Starting to feel like routine. After the game, head coach Jonathan Gannon, he put his team on notice.
Everybody in there, from the staff to the coaches to the players to everybody in there, the clock is ticking. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a #1 overall pick, a Pro Bowl safety, a third-year head coach, a first-year assistant, it doesn't matter. Like, we have to do a better job to close out games.
It was a tale of 2 teams as the Cardinals scored touchdowns on both of their first quarter drives and would eventually lead 21-3 midway through the second. It was from that point on that the offense and the rest of the team fell apart.
And yesterday was just like kind of a shock. You watch the replays of like everything that happened, and it's like, how did this, from, you know, the fumble to the touchdown being Amari letting the touchdown go. It's like so many things had to go wrong for the game to end up the way that it did.
And while the Cardinals struggled, the Sun Devil football program enjoyed a bye week as they gear up for a major test on Saturday. Sun Devils will travel up to Salt Lake City to face the Utes in a game that'll have major implications in the race to the Big 12 championship. Coach Kenny Dillingham knows they need to be ready to go out of the gates.
We just got to start faster. We got to have better plans early. We made an emphasis of it in our team meeting this morning. We got to start practice faster. Like, we got to have an urgency when we start this thing. So we're going to change some things up, not a bunch, but, make little tweaks to try to, create some urgency at the start of practice because it is taking us a while to get into our rhythm. And, we can't fall behind 17 points and expect to win many games.
This matchup offers two of the most athletic quarterbacks in the conference. Sam Levitt, Devin Dampier balling out under center for their squads. The teams have an identical record, with the only difference being their conference play. ASU will go into Saturday looking to stay undefeated against the Big 12, while Utah will look to claw its way back up to the top after an earlier loss to Texas Tech. While the football team had the weekend off, ASU hockey skated into their season Friday by welcoming number 5 ranked Penn State and top NHL prospect Gavin McKenna to Mullet Arena. Turns out this guy's pretty good, too. The Sun Devils also honored former goalie Joey Decord before Friday's game, retiring number 35. However, that was about the only happy moment for the Sun Devils. In both games, the Devils took a lead into the third period before the Nittany Lions stormed back, scoring 4 goals in each third period, including the Game 2 winner by who else but Gavin McKenna. The Sun Devils will look to reset this weekend as they host the Icebreaker Tournament. Usually now it's time for the Weekend Wows. Today's Cardinals edition is more of the Weekend Wows. Wow is definitely one word to describe these moments in yesterday's Cardinals game. First, we take a look at some miscommunication under center. Ball just hits Kyler Murray right in the helmet. They end up fumbling. Titans recover the ball. And you think it might not get too much worse than that? Well, here you have it. Amari DiMercato takes it over 70 yards to the house, but right at the 1-yard line, look at him here, drops the ball right before the end zone. Ball goes out through the back. For those more casual fans, that's a touchback and a turnover. No points for the Cards there. Speaking of looking to get points, here's quarterback Cam Ward, the rookie, wheeling out to his left, throws the pass, and it's intercepted by the Cardinals, or so they thought. Ball's loose, bouncing everywhere. Tyler Lockett eventually falls on it. Touchdown for the Titans, leaving those Cards fans to say nothing else but wow, another loss for the Redbirds. That's it for tonight's Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Max Williams. Macy, Jacob, tossing this one back over to you at the desk.
Thank you, Max. And coming up next, a clear sign of the start of fall is about to light up the sky.
It only happens a few times a year, and it's happening tonight. The moon is taking center stage, and it's set to be a super sight. Why it's filling up our night sky more than usual when we come back.
This is where Cronkite can be creative.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me. So I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer. I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
Well, Jacob, a new view of the universe is taking place right here in the valley.
That's right, Macy. The largest telescope in Phoenix was recently installed at a new observatory, and it will soon be available to the public.
Yeah, the telescope was installed on September 29th at the International Dark Sky Discovery Center in Fountain Hills. The telescope will be featured in the center's observatory, the first of 4 sections of the building to be completed. Alongside an observatory, the Discovery Center will also include a planetarium, a theater, and an exhibit hall. It's expected to open in summer 2026. And if the moon looks a little bit bigger than usual tonight, don't be alarmed.
That's right, tonight is the first night that we'll see what's known as the harvest moon, also named the supermoon. This special event happens when the Earth is closest to the moon, making the celestial body appear much larger than the usual. The supermoon takes on the nickname of the harvest moon because it occurs in the fall. In the past, the bright lights helped farmers finish their work into the night. This isn't the last time we'll see a supermoon this year. You'll be able to see 2 more, one in November and one in December.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Macy Markham.
And I'm Jacob Shanker. Thank you for joining us. And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.